When you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you. Lao Tzu. Have you ever wondered why, no matter how kind or helpful you are, people still take you for granted? Why the more you give, the less you seem to matter? There's a silent pain that grows in the hearts of those who were raised to believe that being good means being agreeable, that to keep the peace, you must swallow your truth, bend your boundaries, and shrink yourself just enough to make others comfortable. Maybe you felt it, the tension in your chest when you want to say no but say yes, the quiet resentment that builds after another ignored effort, another overlooked moment, another time you put others first only to find yourself last. But here's the truth. Being nice is not the same as being respected, and being harmless is not the same as being good. In 2025, when attention is currency and image is everything, the world doesn't reward your silence. It forgets you for it. The Stoics knew this long before we did. They saw how kindness, without strength, becomes a license for others to cross you. They knew that real virtue isn't about saying yes to everything. It's about standing firm in what truly matters. So this is not a guide on how to be liked. It's a guide on how to stop apologizing for existing. It's about reclaiming the space you've quietly surrendered, not with noise, not with anger, but with presence, with quiet strength, and it starts right now. The approval of others is a poor substitute for self-respect. Marcus Aurelius. Meet Daniel. By all accounts, he was the good guy. The one who always helped his coworkers even when he was behind on his own deadlines. The friend who showed up even when he was exhausted. The son who never argued even when he disagreed. People loved Daniel, or so it seemed. But Daniel carried a secret. He was tired, deeply tired, not from doing too much, but from never being able to say no. Every time he turned down his own needs to meet someone else's expectations, a small voice inside him whispered, "You're betraying yourself." But louder still was the fear. What if they don't like me anymore? What if I disappoint them? What if I'm no longer useful? Where does that fear come from? It doesn't come from Stoic wisdom. It comes from conditioning, from growing up in a world where compliance is rewarded and boundaries are punished, from being told that saying no is rude, selfish, or unkind. But the Stoics would challenge that belief. They'd ask, is it kind to give what you don't truly want to give? Is it just to agree with what you don't truly believe in? Is it wise to silence yourself so others feel more comfortable? Marcus Aurelius didn't ask for permission to set boundaries. He didn't need to, because he understood that virtue isn't about pleasing everyone. It's about living in alignment with your values. And that includes the value of self-respect. Stoicism teaches us that your time, your energy, your peace, they are sacred. To offer them freely is noble, but to offer them compulsively is self-erasure. You weren't born to be available for everyone. You were born to be accountable to your soul. So the next time you feel guilty for saying no, pause. Ask yourself not what others expect of you, but what your deeper self expects of you. That's not selfishness. That's sovereignty. If you want to be respected by others, the great thing is to respect yourself. Fyodor Dostoevsky. Samantha was a high performer, the kind of person who made everything work, at home, in her friendships. She was the glue, the calm one, the peacekeeper. But one night, after yet another last-minute call from her boss asking her to just handle it, she stared at her ceiling and realized something haunting. She couldn't remember the last time she'd said what she really felt. Not just out loud, but even to herself. The silence outside had become a mirror of the silence within. And here's the terrifying part. Nobody noticed. No one asked how she was. No one wondered if she wanted something different, because she had trained the world to expect her agreement. This is the slow erosion of the self. It doesn't come in a loud collapse. It comes in the form of small daily concessions, 1,000 little yeses when your soul whispered no. The Stoics had a name for this: weak assent. It's when you allow your reasoned judgment, your prohairesis, to be overridden by fear, habit, or people-pleasing. Seneca warned that no man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity. for he is not permitted to prove himself. But here's the catch. You don't even realize you're avoiding adversity because it's dressed as politeness, helpfulness, and keeping the peace. The problem isn't that you don't speak. It's that you've forgotten how to listen to the part of you that wants to speak. Stoicism doesn't ask you to be loud. It asks you to be clear. Clear about who you are. Clear about what matters. Clear enough that even your silence carries weight. And when you begin to find your voice again, even quietly, the world feels it. Not because you shouted, but because this time, you didn't disappear. He who does not set limits invites disrespect. Epictetus. Let's talk about Anna, a gentle soul. She brought cookies to her coworkers, listened to everyone's problems, and stayed late at work without being asked. At church, she volunteered for every event. At home, she made sure no one ever felt disappointed. People called her an angel, but no one called to check on her when she was sick. No one stood up for her when she was treated unfairly. And when she finally said, "I can't today," they looked at her like she was broken. You see, Anna didn't just give love. She gave herself, piece by piece, until nothing was left. This is the hidden trap of being too good. In the name of kindness, you surrender your needs. In the name of humility, you suppress your truth. And in the name of virtue, you tolerate what slowly destroys your soul. The Stoics would call this misaligned virtue. Not because kindness is wrong, but because kindness without discernment is self-abandonment. Seneca didn't preach unlimited tolerance. He said kindness is only real when it comes from clarity, not compulsion. Because when you give from emptiness, it's not generosity, it's compliance. Stoic virtue is not about allowing yourself to be used. It's about standing in integrity, even when that integrity offends people who only loved your silence. Marcus Aurelius ruled over an empire. He didn't have the luxury of pleasing everyone. He had to decide what was just, not what was convenient. And sometimes what is just will make others uncomfortable. But that's okay. Your job is not to maintain everyone's comfort. Your job is to maintain your alignment. So if your kindness is costing you your peace, it's no longer kindness, it's captivity. And the way out is not by becoming cold, it's by becoming clear. No man is free who is not master of himself. Socrates. Freedom doesn't always come with a roar. Sometimes it arrives in silence, in a soft but firm no, in a pause before replying, in a decision to leave a message on read because you no longer feel obligated to explain yourself. That's what happened to Amir. For years, Amir was the dependable one, the helper, the fixer, the peacekeeper. But the more he gave, the less he felt seen. And when he finally drew a line, the people who once praised him turned cold. "You've changed," they said. But what really changed was this. He stopped offering his dignity as a down payment for acceptance. The Stoics taught that your dignity is not up for negotiation. It is the foundation of your soul. And the moment you build your life around external validation, you hand over the keys to your peace. So how do you step into quiet self-respect? You begin by breaking the contract. The unspoken contract that says, you'll always say yes even when your body screams no. You'll absorb others' moods so no one gets upset. You'll shrink your presence to protect theirs. And then you choose differently. You choose to answer slowly, speak plainly, and move deliberately. Not because you don't care, but because you do. You care about your alignment more than your appearance, your peace more than your popularity, your integrity more than your image. Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This is that moment, to be the person whose presence doesn't beg to be liked, but refuses to be erased. The kind of presence that's not loud, but felt. Not aggressive, but unshakable. Because in a world that rewards performance, the most radical act is to simply be real. He who is brave is free. Seneca. Let's stop pretending. How much longer will you delay your own becoming? How much longer will you nod, smile, and say it's fine when it's not? How many times will you trade your energy, your voice, your time, just to keep the peace? Because here's the truth the world rarely says out loud. No one is coming to rescue you from a life you quietly agreed to. Not your boss, not your friends, not even those who claim to love you. If they've only ever known the version of you that never asks for anything, you taught them how to treat you, and now you must teach them again, not with rage, not with rebellion, but with a calm, grounded decision to choose yourself, consistently. This is not about becoming cold, it's about becoming whole. The Stoics didn't ask us to be feared, they asked us to be firm, to act from choice, not compulsion, to protect our peace, not perform for praise. And they knew something most people forget, that freedom is not being untouchable by harm. It's being untouchable by fear, by flattery, by the urge to prove yourself to those who never truly saw you. Marcus Aurelius ruled a crumbling empire and still found serenity. Epictetus lost everything and still found freedom. Seneca was condemned and still wrote with clarity. What do they show us? That dignity is not granted by the world. It's rooted in you. And when you anchor yourself in principle, when your no is no longer a debate, when your silence carries weight, when your boundaries feel like self-respect, not shame, that's when you become untouchable. Not because you fight to be seen, but because you finally see yourself, and that is enough. So this is the decision now, to stop bending, to stop explaining, to stop offering pieces of yourself in the hope of being chosen. You are already worthy, already enough, already powerful when you stand in stillness and truth. And if this message stirred something in you, don't just keep scrolling. Subscribe. Stay. Because the world doesn't need another agreeable voice. It needs you. Real, rooted, and quietly unshakable.